So the one build I haven't given you guys a update on is my rapier and ice setup. We're still trying to get the gems together for that, but I'm sure some of you are aware if you tried to run the build this patch that the ultimate shell passive is bugged right now. Some people are saying it's intended, but I'm almost positive that it is not intended to be working the way it is currently. The way the patch notes explained it was they wanted to prevent one ice user from being able to proc a ultimate chill buff for another ice user, or just somebody else using an ice gem. So prior to this patch, if one person threw down a ice storm and then a random other person had an ice gem in their weapon, they would be benefiting from ultimate chill if they had an ice going on as well. Now, the goal with the patch was to just make it to where you can only buff your own damage, but they bugged that as well, and it just doesn't work at all right now. And it is the reason why I haven't been running the build so far. But my plans are, once I can get the Blade Master build done, the Rapier Greatsword build, which I have done now. I'm just trying to get together a little bit more clips for it so I can put together a build video. I will give you guys a update on what I'm going to be going for and all the changes that I've made to all of my builds. If you're new to the channel, I put together some pretty extensive build videos, and the annoying part about MMOs is they patch things quite often, so I don't want to be making a 40-minute build video every time they change something in one of my builds. So after we get the Rapier Greatsword build wrapped up, we will give you guys an update on all my other builds and what I'll be doing for those. But we run into this bow player again, and he finds an angle on us where he has a decent amount of space to just kind of lay out shots before we can get to him. But we are able to close the distance on him pretty quickly there and get the fight within melee range, which is where we want it to be. We almost run ourselves out of stamina there, and I'm a little bit low, so we just jump into that entomb just to buy ourselves a little bit of time to reset the fight. I try to go for that shower there while he's in his animation, but he does a good job of dodging it. And we're just trying to go ahead and do as good of a job as I can of avoiding these bow shots. I do land the spike, which is my opening there to go in for my rapier aggression. Put in a lot of damage into each other. We almost lose the trade there. But dodging one or two abilities there with the evade was the difference maker in that fight, and we're able to take out that player there. But the topic of the video today is a nice little fight that I got into on this build actually. I was doing a little chest run, and then we got ourselves into a little 1v2 that I think was a actually great teachable fight. But we get jumped on right away by a sword and shield user, and it seems like he has a bow player as a partner. We kind of get pushed off the edge here, and he's trying to make his way back up, but we use the opportunity to put a little bit of damage into his back. Throw down the ice storm, which would have been buffing our damage, but we get the DPS from the ice storm anyways, and we're able to put in the damage with our rapier and finish out that sword and shield player. And then we go ahead and switch our attention over to the bow player. As soon as his partner goes down, it looks like he tries to kind of beeline it for him and try to make the fight into a little 1v2 again. But the fight brings us to an open field, which is something that's going to be very, very important. But he runs back, his partner gets respawned and runs back from the wave run, it seems like. And I'm trying to go for the bow player. Our flush just literally doesn't do any damage, and looks like our auto attack as well seems to whiffed. So still experiencing a little bit of server performance issues, but I'm trying to play super aggressive here and just go for the bow player, which is something that is not advised when the situation is playing out like this. You see we are very, very low. The sword and shield player is able to just straight up whack away at us, and we go down to the both of them there. Now we respawn, and luckily the fight is now back in this little POI, which is going to be very, very good for us, because line of sight is something that, especially when you're fighting solo outnumbered, is something that you need to make use of. But we run into them again, and I open up on the bow player once again. We throw out the storm, and I land a parry, but he breaks out of the parry faster than I believe Freedom would have gotten you out. So again, I'm not sure what's going on. But we jump into that entomb just to reset the fight for ourselves a little bit. I throw out the storm, and we are just taking a lot of damage out of that entomb. The parry does land this time though, but we are just taking a bunch of bow shots to the back of the head. I tried to retreat into that little room there, and we do go down. So you can see now that the mistakes that I'm making in these two fights here is expending way too much resources trying to go for this bow player. The thing that makes bow players a good target to take out first is when they switch to melee, because that's how we can use our rapier to finish them out faster. But when they're just committed to playing at range like this, sometimes the better option is just to go for the other target. So you see, this time I just go for the sword and shield player. You see we land a chunky parry on him, and I'm using my line of sight this time a lot better to put something in between me and the bow player while I'm fighting this sword and shield player. And if he wants to shoot us, then he's going to have to be forced to come into our range. But we do a good job of spacing out the sword and shield player, land a pretty nice spike, and go in for a little bit of aggression, land the parry, and time the entomb really, really nicely there to soak up that hit from the vault kick. And I have the sword and shield player on the back foot. As long as I can keep moving here and not get bogged down by a stun, we can manage to finish up both players. But you see, he does a good job of reading our parry, and we get punished for it a little bit there. A stone form does come though, so we just eat that stun to the face, and I'm able to just keep up my aggression on the sword and shield player. You can see my dancing around these pillars is the thing that's keeping me alive right now, and not allowing this bow player to land too many shots. But I want to finish out this player as soon as I can. Excuse me. We land the parry behind the pillar, which not only allows me to put in just a ton of damage, but we avoid two nasty shots from the bow there, follow up with the aggression, and we put in a heavy attack to finish out the kill. Immediately switch our attention, land the spike, and put in a lot of hits with the rapier. We already have him down to half health, and we land the parry off the skyward there. We got a nice little finish on that fight, but as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.